Hey, everybody. My name is Rashonda Williams, and I will be returning back to Tea Time with Bunky. Yep, you heard me right. I'm returning to Tea Time with Bunky. I will be returning on July 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m., and it will be on all of your social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Last time I saw you guys was September 5th, 2021. At that time, we spoke about the feelings and how it felt to deal with the murder of my brother, Carl Williams. He was murdered on June 24th, 2009. Here we are, y'all, 15 years later. I told you that this day was coming. So we're on a parole journey. We're on a journey to dealing with parole. So you want to hear the journey? Tune in. I'll be sitting down, and y'all know Bunky gonna get all the tea. 7 p.m., July 18th, 2024. See y'all soon.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. What's his message? Hi, Dan. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is super recent. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I really missed you guys. I really did. It's been 3 weeks, you guys. Whew, it's been 3 weeks. And I'm going to tell you why it's been 3 weeks. I said I needed a break. I needed to get myself together, but basically God told me I needed to take a step back and get back to basics because I was doing too much. So I had to start over, revamp, start from the beginning. So I am here today. So I want to thank all of my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers. Hey, Sean, let me know how everything sounds. I'm back to the mic, like I said, back to the basics. Thank all of my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers, everyone that has been there with me from the very beginning of this journey. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you coming back when I take my little break. This is the longest break, but thank you for taking this ride with me. You can find Tea Time with Bunky once again live every Thursday night on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can catch me also on Zeno FM next Thursday, y'all, on Culture Shock Radio, which is in Canada, Rockbox Radio, Radio Facero, New Mexico, Rock the Music FM, which is in Guadeloupe, the Caribbean, Gnarly FM, which is in Ecuador, and you can catch me on Godfidence Radio. Good, Sean. Good. Thank you. So, so go back. If all of that sounded a little confusing to you, just download the BGN app, Village Global Network app, and you can catch me on all of those platforms. And I'm telling you, hearing about this story and all the other stories on the radio is a totally different vibe. It's totally different. Before I bring my guest on, of course, I have to do my little spiel about elections. Hello, you guys. You are watching the news. You see what's going on. People are saying all the time, "Oh, I don't like this candidate. I don't like that candidate." You know what? They're not my favorite, but you have to look past the candidates, right? Right, Shonda? You got to look past the two because it's the story behind the two. It's what's coming behind the two. You think your rights were taken, well, not at the time. Some rights, like Roe versus Wade, you think that was bad? Project 2025. I'm talking fast because I have a lot to cover. Project 2025 has sort of started in a way, but once they get once ear gets in and if they vote ear in and y'all sit back and don't do nothing, Project 2025 is going to take effect. All your rights are going to be stripped. It's going to be a total dictatorship. It's going to be a hot mess. Get out there and vote. Don't let somebody else make the decision for you. I mean, y'all know I'm anxious anyway. But my anxiety is through the entire roof right now as I'm watching the news and everything. So you guys get out there. The dude that Ear just nominated for his vice president is a mini him. He's a mini him, but he might be a little bit worse because initially he was talking mad junk about Ear, talking about how Basically he's a horrible person. But now, they go back just to please this man, like lick his shoes to get into a position. And this is what's happening, you guys. Please get out there, find out what's going on. Look past the two men that are in the front. What's behind them is coming, because there are two, possibly three Supreme Court nominations coming up. And if Ear gets his people in, you see what's going on. Hey, Aaron, you see what's going on? He get his two, possibly three people in. It's over for us. It's over for those that make regular money and is not a billionaire. So I just had to say that real quick. We want to send our condolences out to the family, possibly three, because you got to look at the ages, Aaron. Look at the ages, two and then possibly three. And then you got that one. Yeah, right? It's a hot mess. I'm telling you. Tell your people, look past the two in the front and go behind them. But like I was saying, send our condolences to the family of baby Antonio. For those that aren't in the Sullivan County area, on Tuesday, a 2-year-old that was in foster care, a 2-year-old lost his life. He was left in a SUV, and we all know that it's been a heat wave. I mean, it's been like 1 billion degrees, and this little baby was strapped in the car seat. In this car, I don't know how long, so I don't want to say how long. I wasn't there. I don't know. But in my heart of hearts, I can't believe that it was intentional. But at the end of the day, a baby lost his life. He was a baby. He was 2 years old. So may there be justice for little Antonio. May his little soul rest in peace. And my condolences to the family and everybody that is involved with this. Like I said, for those that are just joining, my people that are on Instagram, jump over to either Facebook or YouTube, because I can't see your posts, so I can't interact with you, but I would like to know that you're there. It's just me, so I can't do anything about that. So join over there. So like I was saying in the beginning, I had to take some time off because the Lord told me to go back to basics. So I'm just going back to basics, to how I used to do things. And this person that is coming on right now, she was one of my earlier guests. She was on September 5th, you guys, 2021. And we were talking about, it's crazy how quick, it's almost 3 years. It's almost 3 years. We were talking about one of the people that were charged with the murder of her brother was going up for parole. And her mom, for those who don't know her mom, Sister Jeanette Williams, may she rest in peace, until her dying day, fought for her son, fought to get justice, fought to get like these guns off the street, which is bananas right now in Monticello, but it's insane right now, all the crime and all that. But when her mom passed away, she took up the mantle. And you guys, here we are today. Jaquez Lowery will be one of the guys. He wasn't the shooter, but one of the men who was charged with her brother's murder will be coming up for parole on July 26th. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Miss Minister. Yo, that's a whole story in itself for people that don't know Rashonda. Minister Rashonda Williams.
Yeah, everybody.
I was going to do the applause, but I don't know which one is the applause right now. Because like, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Anxious right now. Like I told you, when the voice tells you to do it, you got to do it.
Gotta do it. Yep.
Like I said, people that don't know you, the voice told you. But welcome back to Tea Time with Bunky. We're talking about your brother Carl. For those that didn't know, well, I didn't know City. I didn't know him as City. I knew him as Carl.
Yes.
And you're doing that fight because, like I said, his person is going on July 26th. So in between that time, because initially when you came on, we were talking about people sending letters and impact statements and different things of that sort. So since then, can you share some of the things you've been going on? What's been going on since we last saw you?
A lot. So since you last saw me, I was ordained as a minister.
Congratulations, would you look at
Thank
God?
you. I became a chaplain for the New York State Task Force. So a little bit of a lot of growth, a lot of
Hmm.
growth. But my mom, passed away in 2020, so I had to like keep this going. My dad is dealing with an illness, so it's hard for him. So, just spending time with the family, loving on our loved ones because tomorrow is not promised.
Yeah.
So, a lot of just ministry, That's what I've been doing. Ministry and healing. So, it's been a lot of healing since 2021 to now.
Hmm.
Um, but you can be healed and you can forgive and still want people to be accountable. And that's where I'm at. I
That's
still
where
want
it's about
to be accountable.
accountability.
Yes.
Exactly. For people that will say that, well, he was 18 when it happened because he was 18, um, and David, the gunman, was 17 when they were charged. When they were charged,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they'll say, well, he spent 15 years. Oh, by the way, you guys that don't know the story, they were sentenced 15 years to life.
Jacquees is 15
Got
to
15
life.
to life. What was David?
David is 18 to life, and
18
Lawrence
to life.
is 22 to life.
And Lawrence was the one who fled to Florida.
Yes.
Okay. See, I remember. I remember him. But for those that are saying, okay, it's been it's been 15 years. He spent 14, 15 years. He should get out and live his life. He changed, and you know what? And hopefully that's what prison does, change you. It doesn't change everybody,
Right.
but hopefully that's what it does. But at the end of the day, you can't go visit your you can go visit your brother, but you
Yes.
can't talk to your brother.
Yes.
But we'll get to that. I don't want to do all the talking. I'm going to bring it back to you. So what he's up for parole now, right? You're ready to
Correct.
go. So
Yes.
what challenges have you faced since we spoke last till next week? A week and a half from now, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. Yep.
So what Lord, first of all, how are you feeling?
I'm bitter. It's bittersweet. I'm glad that I'm in a place of like healing, but I'm
Mhm.
also in a place of reliving it over again. It's like you kind of got a little bit of healing. You got some time under your belt now, but now
Mhm.
you're reopening those wounds. And it's like I'm gonna reopen it now for this kid, and then in 2 years, 3 years, I'm gonna reopen it again for another kid. So
Mhm.
it is very stressful reopening it up these wounds.
Mhm.
My nephews were babies, 1 and 3 when this happened, and now I'm looking at partially grown men. So I got to see for the last 15 years how they are. They're not very expressive about like how they really feel. I get
Mhm.
it, you're a male, but um it's so many things that Carl just like missed. And I'm close with my brother. We've always been
Yeah.
close. Like
It's always been you too.
if you play with him, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's missing so many things. We're missing so many things
So
together.
for those that don't know, I hate to have you relive this, but
Hmm.
let people know what happened so they can understand. It just wasn't something simple that happened to your brother. So if you can tell the people what happened to Carl.
Absolutely. So when we were younger, Lawrence Watson used to come play basketball at my house with my brother.
That's the
So
one that went to Florida.
yes, so they
Okay.
kind of knew each other, um,
Mm.
and I guess he came back into town. He wanted marijuana. So he says, he calls my brother, asks him, hey, can you get me weed? My brother says, yeah.
Mhm.
When my brother goes to take him the marijuana, thinking that he's meeting Lawrence,
Mhm.
Jacquees and David were waiting for him, shot and killed him, stole his chain,
Mhm.
um, a chain that he had purchased. And, Yeah, and went home. From what we understood, told his mother what he did. She went, saw that it was true, took her son, hid him somewhere.
And this was David's mother.
David's mother.
Okay.
And then the other one, I guess he just walked around the community and, you know, lived their life for about 6 months. This happened in June. They were not arrested until December 10th of 2009. So that means they had Thanksgiving with their family. They had the summer with their family. They did what they wanted to do. They lived in this community freely.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
spray painting the side of my dad's house with red paint. Just
Wait.
foolishness, you know?
No, I see. I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah,
they were doing the disrespect.
the
And for
disrespect.
those that don't know, her father is a minister.
Yes.
So the fact that you would even, and that's the one that is that the one that's
I
going up
don't
on
know
parole right
who
now?
did
You
it.
don't know who did it,
We don't know who
so we're
did it.
not gonna
Just, yeah,
say a specific. But they were you guys think they were connected to these people.
of course. Where my dad lives, nobody would just think to go all the way out there to do that. No.
And for those that don't know, when she mentioned that he was what they stole the chain that he was wearing. There was a lot of symbolism behind that chain because Carl was in an accident. He was helping rebuild the church,
Yeah.
and Carl was almost buried alive. I remember it like it was yesterday. And so the money that he bought that gold and diamond cross necklace with was money from that accident.
Yeah.
So for people that were saying, "Oh, well, it was drug money," especially now, weed is legal. Hello, and that's what's bugging me out. Like now, it's
Hmm.
legal in New York, but
Hmm.
that's the chain they took off of him after they took his life.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the story. Carl left behind two sons, and now you're going up for her role for this one. So how are you feeling?
So
Like
like
how?
they send you a letter in the mail. Like honestly, I mean I know that the time has been going on, but like I don't calculate it like I used to. I used to literally go daily to make sure that they were still in jail, make sure, nothing changed on it. I used to literally go on a DLC every single day. Thank God, I'm healed from that, so I don't do that anymore. Carl was buried alive for about, oh my God, about 6 hours.
Yeah,
He
that
was
was
buried in a hole.
crazy. That was crazy.
They had every fire department
Yeah.
in the vicinity, and Orange, Sullivan and Orange, I think Ulster too,
Hmm.
to dig him out of this hole. So
Right.
that already in itself was traumatizing.
You're right.
That time he didn't really sleep during the nighttime. He would only sleep during the day. So I got to see all of this because me and my brother always lived together. He
Mhm.
moves out, and then we're back together. So yeah.
Yeah.
But right now it's like surreal. I have mixed emotions
Mhm.
because I understand that we make mistakes and we change.
Right.
But some of the mistakes that we make, we have to live with the consequences. There are mistakes I've made in my life. I have to live with the consequences. I'm
Right.
sure there's people who've been incarcerated. They've come out, they've changed their life, but they had to still deal with the
Right.
life of being
Consequences.
incarcerated. Like
Right.
that didn't come off their record for a lot of men. They're
Right.
great people now, but that
Right.
doesn't come off their record. What they that's their consequence for what they did. So we still
Right.
have to teach our children to be accountable. And then it's like, what would he be coming home to? What are you coming home to? You're
Nothing
still
but
in trouble. You're getting tickets in jail.
oh,
Because they
yeah.
do tell us like that they have tickets and stuff. They don't really tell us like what the tickets are for, but they
Mhm.
still you're still in trouble. You're still in
So a
trouble.
ticket is a violation. They did something they shouldn't have did.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay.
And
So
so, what are you coming home to? My brother
especially
doesn't get to come home.
no.
He's got a 16-year-old son that has never met his dad, and the only thing he knows about his dad is what we tell him. That's like crazy for a kid. I know that there's emotions there to, find out from people who your dad really was. Because you have a story that says, oh, he was selling drugs. Carl was not a drug dealer. He
No.
smoked weed. Everybody know he smoked weed. He didn't hide that he smoked weed. We're talking $40 of weed at this point anyway. But yeah, so no, this was never drug money. He was given a settlement for the accident.
Mhm.
And yeah, he bought
Not
this
that it's
shit.
anybody's business, but
No,
that's what it was. That's what it.
right.
Carl was
Absolutely.
a church boy.
Yeah.
He was. He was a
Yeah.
church boy. And for those that did never grew up in the church, you always, and if your family or your father is a minister or somebody like that, you're a minister's kid, a preacher's kid. You do everything in your power to try to run away from that,
Yes.
to try to get your own identity. And that's basically what he was trying to do, but it just was, he was still always a church boy.
Yes.
And,
And even in getting his own identity,
hmm
there are things that he just wasn't gonna do. Me, I was a little more wilder than him, but there's
yeah.
just so many things that he wasn't doing. He wasn't a street kid. He's not about to be out here in no gangs. He's not about to be out here fighting. Like cursing and weed, that's his thing. Cursing and weed, like that was like major to him. So
hmm
I
So
mean,
I'm talking to you now, and I see a big difference versus almost 3 years ago.
yeah,
There's a big difference.
yeah.
So, like, what perspective? How has your perspective changed in this journey? Like, since you've been going through all of this, took up the mantle to do all of this, which I commend you for because it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. And then the fact that you guys grew up in the community in which it happened, so you know everybody.
Hmm.
You know everybody. So how have your perspective changed over these last, you know, 15 years?
So more recently, within maybe like the last 3 years, I have had to come to a place of healing things that I really didn't realize that
Oh
I
Jesus.
I was dealing with. Like I literally was angry. I never really understood the grief process of grieving my brother because it was so much anger. And it was like the more that you would try to get off of the anger, things would just keep happening. They would just keep doing things. You got to go to court. You got to do this. So I finally had got to a place where I was no longer going to the cemetery because I was going to the cemetery daily, sleeping there, just
You were
reliving on
broken.
it.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
broken.
and just dealing with a lot of anger, and then guilt. Even though there was nothing I could do, and I get that today, as an older sister who been there since he came in the world, like I was literally in the room when my mother gave birth to him.
Hmm
When you go from that to being with somebody for 25 years,
hmm
it's like I'm his mama, I thought I was anyway. So to deal with like, what if I didn't leave? Because this happened at a complex that I used to live in.
Right.
What if I didn't leave? What if I had went outside? But I never thought like that could have been the case and my parents could have lost both of their children.
That's a okay. So that's another way to look at it. That's a fact. That could because you back then you would have been fighting.
Yeah,
You would have been. Yeah.
yeah. And the
Okay.
thing with Carl, he's not that kid, but he's not gonna let you do anything to me either. So,
Right.
my parents could have been in the effect of losing one child. I have gotten to watch how it has changed them, or how it changed my mom, and how my dad is dealing with his sickness.
hmm
So because of that, I can't even imagine how they would have dealt with two.
Both of y'all. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I couldn't imagine.
And so I've had to watch in the 15 years my mom go through her battles of sickness until she took her last breath. And I was in there, went through the whole, they resuscitated her in front of me process. So literally, I watched that destroy my parents. You can put on a smile and you can put on a
Right.
remember me song and you can have the stories, but it doesn't take away the pain. It's not like dying in a car accident. You know,
Right.
you don't really have answers like,
Or
You know,
sickness. Yes,
yeah,
not
and it makes you question your faith. I've had times where, I was done with God. I was like, I'm not going back to nobody's church. Like, my brother wasn't that kid. Like, I was a rowdy kid. He was the calm kid. So, like, it just, to hear that and to relive that call of somebody calling you, telling you, like, your brother's gone. And I'm like, gone where? It's just like, it's crazy. To even view him in that light is
Mhm.
crazy. And it's like, you never get over that. Like, even now, it's still trauma.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, you never completely heal from it, but
Mm.
you have to learn through your faith to get to a place of healing. It's not your fault. Like, I literally had to go through that. There's nothing that you could have done. It's not your fault.
Right.
But
No.
as the oldest, you go through that. Like, this is supposed to be my
I'm
brother.
sorry.
I'm supposed to be the protector. So
Right.
you wanna protect him. So yeah, you go through that, but
And
it
having
gets
to go through the road. But it gets better, but you
then it's
gotta go through.
reopened.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's where we are. It
Ha-
gets better and then we reopen.
This was something I was wondering. Like while they were are incarcerated, has have they or their family, anybody reached out to your family, with any sincere remorse, like, I'm sorry, I was, or as far as them, like, I'm sorry, I was young, I wasn't in the right state of mind, like it, I mean, like, heartfelt remorse. Have you received that from?
Never, never. It's like, and then there's some of their family members that you'll see in the community, and they'll act as if nothing ever happened. It's just, or you have the ones that don't speak to you because
Their family took your family.
yeah, but they don't speak to you. And I'm not offended. Some people don't
Right.
know how to hold their emotions. I used to be very annoyed by that. And I wish that my mom could have at least gotten that, and my dad could have at least gotten, like, the remorse, because we left court with impact statements, and then after an impact statement they give the offender a chance to say something. And what they said was pretty much that they were sorry to their family. They wasn't really sorry to my family. So when you sit in an interview with the cops and you're saying, you're sorry for this, but then you get in court and you're trying to hold on to this thug persona, when both of you snitched on each other, the whole family have heard the recordings. It's like, you have no remorse, and you've never showed that to us. You've never given that to us. So the last thing we know was that you was just sorry to your parents
Right.
for disappointing them. So no,
That's
we've never gotten that.
how has your support system been, like your family, through all of this? Or not even just family, because sometimes our support isn't family. So,
Hmm.
like, what does your support system look like? I'm gonna say it
After
like that. What does it look like?
after 15 years, it dwindles down. In the beginning, it was great. It was everybody, your friends, your family, his friends. Now it's not like that. It's literally a group. Like, even with the letters that I asked, like, friends, I've asked family, I have probably 10 letters
Now,
total.
did you send those or do you bring those? How does that work?
So I've when they called me for parole and we set up the date, I've emailed them to the person that I spoke to, the contact person. I also have them printed out to bring with me on that day, just in
Mhm.
case, they say they didn't get it, or they don't, I have the actual copies. But my mom will never get to write a letter to say how this has affected her in the last 15 years, because she's no longer here. My dad he doesn't want to relive it. He says he doesn't want to relive it, but now with his sickness, he's constantly reliving it. This is
Oh,
something that, he talks about often, because it's something that never leaves you. You're reliving it.
that's his baby boy.
Yep. My oldest nephew graduated high school,
Right. I
you
see.
know, and
Right.
so he didn't get to have his dad at graduation.
Right.
We're never gonna know how that felt for him.
And it's important. It's important how you're saying he never had that.
Yeah.
Your brother never had that. Your nephew will never experience that in all the milestones in his life, turning
Mm-hmm.
16, turning 18, turning 21, get married. He'll never know what that's like. And people who have family members that are on the other side need to understand that, because Lord
Yes.
forbid it could be them. And then they're going to want the whole world, you know what I'm saying, to have sympathy and empathy for them, but yet you can't give it. You know,
Yeah.
like take that away. Take the part away. Okay, my son did that. Okay. At the end of the day, a mother, speaking
Mm-hmm.
as a mother, you're a mom.
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel if that was your son? So if anything in that courtroom, the mothers should have said something to your mother.
Yes.
That's the humane thing to do.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I understand you're there to support your kids, and we're at the point now we can't say, oh well, he didn't do it. Hello, everything pointed, he did it. You know, they're telling on each other, which I think they should do. That's my personal opinion. I
Yeah.
don't call it snitching. I'm like telling the truth, you
Yeah.
know. But so there's, without a shadow of a doubt, they did it. They're involved or whatever. So mom or dad, if dad is involved, should have gone to your mom and dad, even if they didn't come to you, because your mom would have told you.
Mm-hmm.
They should have. That's the humane thing to do.
Not what we dealt with was just anger. You're lashing out. You're wanting to fight at the courthouse. You're just
Crazy to me.
inappropriate. You're just inappropriate. And that's what I said. We as a family would have never felt anyway that you came and supported your kid. Because as a
Right.
mom, we gotta support our kids even when they do wrong.
Even when
We
they
don't
do
have to
wrong.
be loud and wrong with them.
Right.
But as a mother, you have to still be a mother.
Right.
And what did you teach them in that moment? That it was okay for them to do what they did?
That's what it sounds like
So
at the
it's
end of the
like,
day. Yeah.
yeah, no, never really. I've never heard an apology from any of these people. My parents have never heard an apology from any of these people. And that's really sad too, because
Really
if
sad.
something changed, if you had changed, you should have been compelled, even if you didn't get a response, because forgiveness is for you, it's not for the other person.
Right.
Even if you didn't get a response, why not say, here, can you guys make sure their family gets this letter, because this is something I did. I like, are you guys even still taking accountability, or are we living in jail like, we're still a thug? I really don't know, because I don't live there. But it's
Mhm.
kind of, even the justice system is really a slap in the face, because I'm paying for you to be there.
Right. They
So
getting 3 meals and they got a roof over their head. They're not about to be evicted. They
yeah,
and they got food. They may not like the food, but who
right.
knows? I don't know. Not going. I don't know what that life is about. I don't want to know what that life is about. That's not who I am. Um, I don't know. I don't know their families. I might if I saw them. I'm horrible with names.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm horrible with faces too. So since it's a small community, I might have seen them or know who they are, but I don't know them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're watching, I just really hope that they can find it within their heart,
Right.
or have a heart, have a heart to at least be like, okay, this mother went through this. How would
Mm,
I feel if that was my son? Let me reach out to her surviving child.
yeah.
You know, some,
'Cause that's an apology she'll never hear. My
yeah,
dad
she won't.
here, and he may can hear that apology,
Right,
but like, and that's the thing. Nobody in our family is upset with their family.
right,
You can't listen. You can give your kids the teaching. You can give them the guidance. Whatever they grow up and decide that they want to do, they're gonna do. But you have to also explain that there's consequences to that. I'm a mom.
absolutely,
I tell my kids they're good teaching. They're raised in church, but that doesn't mean that they're not gonna find somebody whose influence maybe
absolutely,
stronger than me, and they
right,
may go do something wrong. And as your mother, I'm still gonna love you,
right,
but you got to be accountable for what
right,
you do. Even just to think the danger of my kid comes home and tells me they took somebody's life, and I let him continue to sleep in my house with all my other kids. That would make me a little nervous. Like, what if your brother or sister say the wrong thing? If you do it once, you'll do it again. So
It's
it
rough.
makes it like, yeah. So that's one of the hard parts too,
Mm.
is like you see them in a community and they don't talk to you because they're mad at you. Like, I don't need you to have a full conversation with me, but I also don't need you to side eye, roll your eyes, and be mad at me either because I didn't do anything to you.
Because your child, the one you brought in the world,
Yep.
that little monster
Yep.
did what he did.
Yep.
And what's sad is people, I'm sitting and I sit back because, and it's just like I mentioned, little Antonio, the little boy that passed away on Tuesday. Like they had a candlelight visual for him, right? I wanted, everything in me wanted to go, but I was afraid because not too long ago there was a shooting over there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, I'm not about that life. I can't go out there. I'm going to pay my respects to the family and honor this baby. But there's a bunch of knuckleheads out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want no parts of it. And that's horrible. It's horrible that it's gotten to that point because when this happened, after this happened, I remember your mom marching and like against the gun violence, and I
Yep.
mean, like your mom went all out. She went
Yes.
all out, and to see that mantle wasn't continued after
Yes.
she left, and it seems like it's gotten worse.
Yes. Yes. And every time you hear that, you're nervous. Sean pins in you. So I have one of my children lives in Sleepy Hollow. So every
Oh,
time that there's something going on, I'm calling them. And
mhm,
even like, they make jokes sometimes, the girls, the older girls are like,
mhm.
Ma, you be calling about everything. You be on your first 48. But this is what that trains you to do, because
Yeah,
when your life is calm and you never expect to get that call and you get that call,
right,
you're always thinking of that call. So every time you hear something in the news, you're like, is it my kid? Is it okay? Is everybody okay? It's constantly something. You can't. Me as a mom, my heart goes out to people whose kids die because of gun violence, whose kids die. Period. If
right.
if your kid is missing, like, my heart goes out to them, and I don't sleep because it just bothers me that people could be so cruel. So
Right.
to know that your kid did that and be okay with that is just crazy to me. And maybe you're not okay. I don't know. Maybe they're not okay with it. But you need to
But stop
voice that.
acting out. And they need to not act out in that way. Like
Right.
they got to do better and grow up. I mean, like
Right.
it's been 15 years. So moms and families are 15 years older.
Yeah.
So you should have matured some within that time period.
Yes.
You know, something because you're still modeling to your kids that behavior is okay.
Yes.
You know, we about that life. What
Yeah.
life? Like
Right.
what?
Right.
It's like that's not cute. That's not cute.
Right.
Um, thug, gangster, like what is that? Like I never understood that mentality.
Yeah.
I don't. And the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you about your brother, like I've known you guys since you were little. I
Yeah.
remember seeing Carl little at Elder Ren's, little, you know? And so I would have never thought that this would be how he left the world
Right.
by
Right.
the hand of two teenage knuckleheads.
Right. Yep.
So okay, so you're going like I said, you're going before the board. Like, is he present? Is the person present when you go also?
So when I did ask that question,
Hmm.
and he really didn't give me the answer. He kind of said like they were not sure if they were going to bring him or if I was just going to have like me and the parole board.
Hmm.
Either way, I would like to be better prepared because I want to know, is it just the parole board or is it me and the parole board? The thing that
So who is he? You said he. Who is he?
Jacques, I don't know if
No,
Jacques.
no, 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 no. We know him, but
Oh,
who did you ask? Who do you ask?
so there's a contact person that you
Okay,
that you call from the crime victims.
okay.
So what they do is when one of the offenders become eligible for parole, they send you a letter probably about 8 months before,
Hmm.
to give you the option of coming in and going to the parole hearing or doing it virtually. Of course,
Okay.
I'm not going to do anything virtually. I
Right.
don't trust that this,
It might
something
be a glitch
happens
or
now. I'm
something
not
happened.
on there,
Yeah.
so I have to go personally. The part that's crazy is I have to drive to Poughkeepsie to go to this parole hearing. Meanwhile, this kid's locked up right here in Woodburn, 15 minutes from his family. Amazing.
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 And for those that don't know, which I had to learn myself, once people start coming up for parole, they get moved closer to home.
Yeah.
They move closer. So his family could easily just 5 minute ride, 5 minute car ride, and go visit him. Okay.
Yes.
So during this process, like you're coming up to this time, you're watching the calendar, because I'm sure you was watching the calendar, and before
Hmm.
you knew it, you blinked and it was July. So what have you been doing to try to keep a positive mindset? Like, how have you been mentally preparing for this?
So just really being able to be around the kids, being able to be around the boys, like reconnected with my 16-year-old nephew, Cameron. And just like reconnecting with him and just watching him is like looking at my brother. Even though he never really knew his father, he has so many traits, so many mannerisms. It's amazing to
The
like
genetics.
watch him.
Hey,
And then
Vin.
it's
Hmm.
my older nephew, and like getting them together in the house is like watching me and my brother. So like that gave me like so much peace. And
Hmm.
then prayer. I am
Right.
That's what I do. Prayer. If I'm upset, prayer, prayer. Like you know me,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't know this wasn't no prayer. Yeah, I pray later. Like I have Medea attitude. They gotta get God first.
Yeah.
But now it's more of a prayer, and it's more of a peace.
Hmm.
You have peace when you have God. So thankfully I have God, and so I have a peace that
Yeah.
passes my
Surpassing
own
all
understanding.
understanding. Yes.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and you need that for what you're about to go through.
Yeah.
Um, have there been any like resources as you were preparing for this? Like, you got the letter, or whatever, but was there anything out there that helped you prepare for what's coming up? Can you prepare for what's coming up?
So they don't give you any options to prepare. They just basically tell you to come in with your letter
Hmm.
and say whatever it is you're gonna say. I know when we originally did impact statements, they had a program in Sullivan County that is no longer there for families anymore, which
There's
is great.
nothing here, right? There's nothing.
Yeah, and we had a lady that she came in. Her name was Samantha. She would come in and she would read your statement, kind of give you a guideline of what you could write, just help you prepare for it.
Right.
But they do not offer that anymore. They don't even have the program anymore. I know that crime victims did tell us, like, for the rest of our lives, we could have, therapy and it would be on them. I don't even know if that program exists anymore because, again, we don't get any of this. Parents of murdered children, I don't get any emails from them anymore. So a lot of these programs that were around 15 years ago are no longer around now.
So you're like left on your own to fend for yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't know what you're walking into when you walk into that room. You don't know if you're just walking in front of one to five people, if
Yep.
he's going to be there. If I mean, like, they should tell you if he's going to be there or not, so you don't have that shock moment, like when you walk in, like, because that's instant trauma. Looking at
Yeah.
his face, looking at the matured face,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Because Carl is going to be forever 25,
Yeah.
forever. Whereas
Forever.
these boys are already older than that. Well, no, they're 32,
Yeah.
32,
Yeah.
32 and
Yeah.
33.
Older than Carl would have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
older than Carl would have been. So now you're going to be looking at the matured
Hmm.
face of this guy. So they should tell you
I
what you're
don't
walking
know
into.
why, because the guy that I had on the phone, he was like, he was kind of nervous. I don't know if it was his first time talking to a family, but he just seemed like very nervous. He really didn't have a lot of answers to the questions. So my thing is, that's great. If you don't have the answers, that's fine. Can you get me somebody that does, or have
Mhm.
somebody call me back that does? No. And like, even literally tomorrow it'll be 1 week since I before I go back because I go next Friday.
Hmm.
Nope, I haven't heard from them. They didn't call to see if I'm still coming. Nothing.
They
Nothing.
probably call you the day before
Yeah.
or on that morning. On
Yeah.
that morning.
But I
Um,
am prepared. I've taken the liberty of preparing myself. I've been doing my walks in the morning and just really talking to God about what I should say and what I
absolutely.
should not say.
Right.
So I did let them know that I did not write anything. I have
Hmm.
to speak straight from the heart
Hmm.
because writing, I can write it, but I just feel like saying it and them understanding and hearing my voice say it will be
Right.
more effective than to just, you know.
Right. Now, I believe that people can be rehabilitated. I believe that. Um, like um, like I have said many times before, people that have been on Tea Time, I know what it's like to lose someone that you totally love with everything in you, tragically to gun violence, right? And my uncle will forever be 23. He'll forever be 23. And but we didn't have the opportunity to do all the court things and do all that stuff. We didn't have that opportunity. But from what I read, a lot of people when they go up for the first time, they don't get parole the first time. And it's the first I did a little bit of homework. Most of the time they don't. But let's say okay, they do grant it because some people some people do change. Some people, but it doesn't sound like they've shown any sort of change or whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
girl.
how would you feel? How would you feel if they granted it?
And that's the part that I think would be the most difficult. That's the part that I'm trying to like wrap my head around. Like them or him being out in the same community with me and I'm walking into stores seeing him.
Because it's gonna happen eventually. It's
Because I
going
did that during the time, the 6 months that they were walking around free. Of course, everybody was telling my family who did it, so we knew who it was. So there was a time that he walked right into me in the store. I was coming um in the store and he was going out, and we like literally made a face to face contact.
did he
And
show any emotion?
no,
Any
no, he got out the store. He went to the back of the store with one of his friends, changed hoodies, and went out the store and like ran back to Evergreen. And I followed him, but that's not the point.
that was the old Rashonda. We're talking to the new
but
Rashonda.
but I think back to that moment, all the crazy emotions that came to me. Now I'm a different person now.
Yeah, you are.
But do I want to be walking into you in the community and we're gonna still act like you didn't do anything?
Right.
I just feel like I agree. People do change. I've watched people change.
Right.
Change. Being a chaplain, I've seen people who are pastors now who've committed crimes and they reached out to their victims.
Right.
They've done their part to try to make it right.
See,
You
that's the thing right
tried
there.
to make it right. You haven't said anything. I'm not saying we're gonna be besties, but you haven't made an attempt. So what makes me feel like you changed? What have you done shows me that you changed.
Right.
You go to school, you got 24 hours in prison every day. So like, you know,
You had nothing but time. You better have read books or something,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Man. So
So
yeah, that's the key thing right there. Um,
and with
showing that you
Jacquees, it's a little different than with DJ because I will give him that he stayed his entire time. He didn't go up for appeal process, whereas DJ David he went up for parole, like some kind of hearing he had because he said that the police didn't arrest him correctly and he was trying to get out on some technicality because he went to the law library and listened to a few prisoners give him instructions on what he should do. And
Mhm.
so we had to relive it again years ago. So we had to go to Albany. We had to travel. So a lot of this stuff that we're doing is a lot of traveling, and you have no programs for families. We have a car, but what about the families that don't have a car, that can't travel to these places? They have to now depend on you for a link. I don't think that's fair.
That's not fair.
I think that while they're in there, they should be working and they should be paying a fee. And that fee that they're paying should go to these victims to get to these court hearings, to get to the. I have a
Yeah,
car, but why should I drive my car to go to a parole hearing for something that I didn't do anything? So it's
right,
like you kind of be punished all over again.
right. Because you could need brakes, could need something. Something can be wrong with your car, and you can't get there. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I, it blows my mind that the actual trigger person had the audacity to try to get out earlier, like he didn't do anything. Um, but like you said, Jacquees, the one going up, he just he took a he they might have went about it wrong or gone about it wrong, but in his own way, kind of took accountability
Mm-hmm.
for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can give him that check. You can give him
Yeah.
that check.
Yeah.
Still hard, but
Yeah.
and has he been getting in trouble? Has he gotten any, what is it, violations while he?
Yeah. Both of them have um gotten into some things, and all of them really, because I've they do, you do have people that'll tell you like, yeah, they got a lot of infractions and stuff. So yeah, they're still getting. I just want to hear, like, what reason are you going to give that you what did you do while you were there? What did you accomplish while you were there? Have you went to therapy? Because maybe their lives were traumatizing.
Right.
We
Right.
don't know.
Because yeah, we don't know what was going on in their houses. Well,
So,
something had to have been going on if you're 17 and 18 and you live in that kind of life.
16 and 17 when they got him.
16 and 17. And you
Yep.
live in that kind of, first of all, where did they get the weapon? And that's
Right.
another thing, y'all. Watch these two people running. Look behind them. Look behind them, these guns and stuff. But okay. But how did you guys ever find out where that came from?
So no, they never told where it came from.
Okay.
They were both into gangs. Which
Crazy.
is prevalent. They got Facebook pictures and they're throwing up the signs, and their friends are coming in court with their red, because that
That's
was a
so
ban at one point.
disrespectful. So
The court banned that at one point. They said nobody could wear red. Nobody could wear red because it was that's how crazy it was getting in the court process.
that's out of control. You know what? That's just blatant disrespect for your family, for the justice system. That's
Mhm.
just disrespect. No home training,
No.
none whatsoever. Just the
No.
disrespect is blatant. I
Yeah.
hate disrespect.
Yes.
I hate a disrespectful child because that's what they were.
Yes.
That's what they were. And for Jacquees' sake, I pray that he grew.
Yeah.
And when he comes out, because I've heard of people coming out, they go in like that, young people, they go in like that, but they come out different and be like, yo, I'm not about that life.
Yeah.
So I pray that he comes out with that mindset,
Yes.
but we see what he's coming back into.
Yes. And also, I pray that, whatever was going on with him, because something obviously is going on with your kid, that they're this angry enough to take somebody's life.
That's it, angry. Yeah,
I hope that he got the counseling he need, because, again, they had already had Carl's property and
right.
still shot him.
That's
So you went there
crazy.
supposedly for the robbery. You had it in your hand. And that was their words on tape. They said that Carl said, "Here, take everything." That was his last words on earth at 25 years old. "Here,
Take
take
everything.
everything." You took it and then you shot him.
I wonder
And
if
you
that was the
tell
order.
me that the gun went off accidentally. But why was it loaded? It was two of y'all, two guns. He wasn't gonna fight you guys.
And he wasn't a big guy at all.
No,
He wasn't.
no. So yeah, even in that, it's just like, I hope that you got therapy for that.
But people can go to therapy, and if they're not really honest in therapy, they can
Correct.
be like, "Oh, I went to therapy," but you wasn't honest in therapy to face the root problem of what got you in that situation in the first place.
Absolutely.
So I hope he was honest and utilized the services that were available to him for
Yeah.
free at the taxpayer's expense.
Yes.
Hope he
That's,
utilized all of that and can come out and be a role model. This is just my prayer for him. I'm not saying it's what it is.
yeah.
Be a role model to his younger cousins or the young men out there and be like, look, this is what it was when I was your age. This is not where you want to go.
Right. Right.
Oh my God. Oh God. This is all right. This is crazy. So looking back, because we got like 5 minutes. So you're now you're going. What do you hope to accomplish when you go before the parole board? And do you have to talk to your nephews about this? Like, do they ask questions about what's coming up? Do they know what's coming up? Do
They
they?
do know. So I've have that conversation with them already,
Hmm.
which was hard because my mom was usually the one that really, would answer Micaiah when he was younger and he would have a lot of questions. My mom was who I used to always send him to my mom because I couldn't handle
Right.
talking to him. And I also knew that I was very angry and I didn't want my nephew to
Uh-huh.
grow up angry. So I didn't want to give him angry answers. So I used to send him to my mom.
Okay.
So like I was very nervous to have this conversation because he was 3. He's 18 now. He's about to be 19.
Hmm.
So I'd have this conversation with him, and he's he is his father's kid where he's short to the point, sweet. He's like, well, I don't feel like they should get out. I think they should stay there.
Hmm.
He didn't give me a lot because they're not really expressive of their feelings, which is the thing also that I worry about emotionally. How would he
As they
deal
get
with that
older.
if
Right.
he walked in to the store and saw him? How would his emotions be?
Right.
Because now he's grown.
Right.
And so, same thing with uh, my other nephew. I had a conversation with him as well, and I let him know, this is what's gonna happen. And he said I would have to have my mom help me write the letter because I never really got to meet my dad, and I don't know what I would say.
Right.
So they're dealing with a lot of emotions that they, can't express.
Right.
Um, and they both play piano. Um, Cameron is more avid in his piano, so he
Hmm.
sat and he's played for me.
Hmm.
Um, he plays basketball. If you know Carl, he going somewhere to go basketball, go play basketball. That's his thing. So I'm looking at Cameron, who's actually taller than his brother,
Hmm.
um, and he's playing, and he's really good. So he's really into that. It's like he's a miniature version of his dad. So I definitely had to have a conversation because I know that they've looked it up. I know that they've,
Right.
read the story on the internet. But you have to remember that Micaiah was 3, so he knows a little bit and he's had a
Right.
little bit of time with his dad. But Cameron was 1. So he doesn't really remember anything other than what is
It's
told to him.
told to him. Right.
And I have to think about their feelings in that. How would that be as us if I had to know my parent through somebody else's eyes? I'm never
Right.
going to know them for myself. So I, I pray for the boys and their emotions and their feelings because boys don't like to really say how they are. And they are like my brother because he's the same way. He's not a person that would just lay down and really talk to a lot of people. There's things that he never told my mom that I had to tell her
After.
after he died because she
Right.
was questioning certain things. And I've had to say, like, yeah, she's like, you knew that this whole time and you never said nothing. But I couldn't because
Right.
that was the thing with him. When he say don't tell her,
You know.
I couldn't tell her. So now
And
had he took somebody's life, it'd have been a different story. Now listen. Like,
right.
well, you know better. And so I just, I hope that they spent the time there and they've gotten something out of this.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of mixed emotions when it comes to, reopening the wound. Because
Yeah.
I'm going to reopen this now. We're going to go through this and then we're going to close it up a little bit and then we're going to reopen it because it's going to be time for the next one to go.
Right. once you start to think you have healing.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, it's it's 8 o'clock. What are the final words you want to say to people that are going to go through dealing with a parole hearing, or family members that are on the other side? When I say the other side, I'm not talking about behind the bar side. I'm talking about like your side, the
Mhm.
victim's family. Like, what are any, or to your nephews? Like, what are your final words? What do you want to leave us with?
Find support. Find a support system because it is a lot dealing with it on your own. Um, I mean, I thank God that I have God, but like I have these conversations, I have my couple of little friends that are like really there for me and we have these conversations. But you have to find support. And if there was a way like that I could find like a group that I could start maybe even,
Start it. Do it.
it needs to be the siblings' voices need to be heard because a lot of times they hear the parents, but they don't
Right.
hear the siblings. And a lot of kids, yeah, you got a parent kid relationship, but a sibling bond is
It's
so
different.
different. And
Yeah.
you can give all the condolences to the parents, but those siblings are hurting too. They're
Who are
dealing
with them
with a
more.
lot.
They
Yes,
they know more about their sibling than the parent knows about that
yes,
person.
yes.
So
And
start it, Rashonda. Do it.
I'll see.
Make it part of your ministry.
Yeah,
Hello, do it.
yeah, we could. I
Yes,
could.
yes, you can. You can do it.
But definitely find a support system.
Hmm.
And for the other side, my words would be just under put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Right,
How would you feel if it was your kid? And
right,
that's the way that you should behave. The way that you would want me to behave if my brother was the killer.
right.
That's the way you should behave. And you know, that's it. That's all
And,
I can say.
and that's big. Apparently, in this situation, that's big. They need to put themselves in your shoes. Reverse it.
Yep.
Reverse it. If they were the mother who went to her final day trying to fight for justice, and knowing that it did take a toll on her, because it took a toll on her. So
Yeah. I
that's
used to hear my mom say, like, I want to be with your brother. You like I don't even think she realized how devastating that was for me to hear.
right.
But like when the day that she passed on, and I was like, yep, yep. She went with her son. That's where she wanted to be. But you have to really put yourself in other people's shoes to see that this doesn't just affect one person. It
Exactly.
affects the whole family for
Right.
years to come. It
Right.
doesn't stop on the end of the trial. They go to prison, their sentence is over. This is a lifetime of dealing with it. So
It
I
is.
pray that, one of my children or his children, if something was to ever happen to me, that they would now pick up the mantle and still fight, still
Exactly.
fight. Fight for your loved one. They're not here to do it. You have to do it.
Right.
So that's what I
Totally.
would
Well, thank you so much, Rashonda.
say. Welcome.
I enjoyed this conversation. I mean,
Yes.
I hate that we had to have the conversation, but
Yes.
I enjoy
I
as
only
a
do my
pleasure.
interviews with you because
I know. I appreciate that so much, Rashonda. You don't
yes,
even understand that you trust me enough with
yes,
this.
yes.
I appreciate it. And that's what it
I
is. You're
love what you're
trusting me.
doing. I have to tell you that I love what you're doing. You're bringing light to so many different things, so many different situations that people are dealing with in their real life. And I love that you do it with such grace because a lot of people just want you to come on for their little show, for their little rating, whatever their agenda is. But when you're coming to talk with you, it's like you're just talking to your homegirl and y'all having a conversation over some tea.
Yep.
It's not an agenda for you. So I really appreciate all that you're doing, and I want you to keep going because you're doing great.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. That means a lot.
Welcome.
So, you guys, once again, Miss Rashonda, Minister Rashonda Williams, we're talk. She's going up against the parole board on July 26th. So you guys keep her in prayer. Um, Also, like I said earlier, we like to keep the family of little Antonio in prayer, who was left in a SUV on Tuesday over here in Sullivan County, and Unfortunately, the little man passed away. They said a cardiac arrest overheated. It was like 1,000,000 degrees.
Yeah.
So prayers to the family. Get out there. Elections, you guys, make sure you vote. And for those that say, "Oh, I don't like either one of them," da 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 da, I'm telling you, look behind them, right? Rashawn, look behind them. Look behind them because they're both older.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't gonna do elder. Talk about the elders, but it's the laws that are coming behind them. The people that they're putting in positions behind them. There are 2, possibly 3 Supreme Court judges that if the ear gets in, say I don't want to call him by his name, I call him the ear. If the ear gets in, oh my God, it's just gonna be a whole dictatorship. All your rights are gonna be stripped. It's gonna be a whole nightmare. Get out there. Project 2025. Some of that stuff is already being put into place, but the goal is to strip all your rights unless you're a billionaire, whatever. They're the ones who are being taken care of. You guys, stop being so naive. Look and see what's going on with this world. Because I'm not voting. I don't like either one of them. Oh, I'm just gonna write somebody in. You're gonna mess us all up. It's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess. Because I know things now. The flag used to mean something to me growing up. Now it terrifies me when I see it because the reason why they're hanging it is not the same reason. It's different. It may affect some people somewhere and be like, "Yo, punk, stop being a punk." But listen, I know when I see it in certain places, it instantly instills fear in me because I don't know what I'm walking into. So you guys get out there and vote. I'm telling you, get out there and vote and pray. Lord, pray. Pray. That's it. So I'm getting ready to end this. Once again, you can catch Tea Time with Bunky every Thursday night live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at 7 p.m. You can also catch me on Zeno FM on Culture Shock Radio Canada, Rockbox Radio, Radio Facero, New Mexico, Mexico, Guap the Music FM, which is in Guadalupe, Caribbean Island, Gnarly FM, which is in Ecuador, and Confidence Radio, and it's aired globally in over 200 countries. So you guys go out there, download the BGN Village Global Network app. It's free. If all those stations kind of went over your head, just download the app and you can listen to it Thursdays at 8 a.m. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys tune in next week. As I said in the beginning, God said I had to go back to the basics. So now I'm going back to the basics and doing tea time the way tea time was intended to be. So I appreciate you all. You all have a wonderful night. Be safe, stay cool. Feels like the heat wave is ending. Be kind to somebody because you don't know what they're going through. I appreciate you also. Shonda, stay right there. So you all have a wonderful night. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye now. Tell a friend to tell a friend.